It's a unique Dublin Senior A hurling final day, and not in a good way. We would love if you were here. We'd love if you were making some noise and getting behind your team right now. But unfortunately, that can't happen, and there is no crowd in. Obviously, restrictions are tighter in Dublin than they are around the country. We are glad that we do have a game on. We are glad that we have sport, because it has been a massive distractor and something that has given us something to be happy about in the last wee while. Today it is Ballyboden St Endas against Cuala, and Ballyboden, we're all aware they're chasing a double. For Cuala, they were chasing a double today. Unfortunately for them, that won't happen because their B team were beaten by St Finbarrs in the first final of the day. That was live earlier on here on Dubs TV, but right now our concentration is on the main event, Cuala against Ballyboden. Owen O'Donnell of Whitehall, Colmcille and Dublin is with me for this. Owen, what are you expecting from this game?
Should be a cracking game. I think it's the big one that everyone's been waiting for. Both sides know each other very, very well. Have played each other a lot over the years. Two teams will be no strangers to the final here. I'm expecting a big, intense battle. I think the first 5-10 minutes, both teams will be trying to feel each other out. I know both managers place a massive emphasis on work rate and tackling and hooking and blocking, so I'd say there'll be a lot of that so far, but so it should be a cracking day. Nearly perfect conditions here. The pitch is looking great. There's a small wind into the car park entrance, but should be a cracking game.
It's a bizarre county final, isn't it?
It is bizarre, and the build up to it has been bizarre. You know, we've never had anything like this, and what we were saying, and when we watch Finbarrs lift the trophy, it still means as much to the players, and maybe more, because we've had such down times, and this is one chance that players have to get a win when some things have been so messy. So both teams will try to get rid of all them distractions and just play as best they can.
Well, you could see it on the videos posted to the Dublin GA social media channels during the week that there's plenty of colour around the parishes of both of these clubs, and there's plenty of excitement as well. Let's have a look at the teams. We do expect, by the way, some changes to the teams that have been named, which is not uncommon in hurling and Gaelic football, I suppose. We'll start with Ballyboden St Endas. Well, look, Conal Keeney's name still jumps off the team sheet. He's such a strong presence for them in every possible sense. Finn McGarry, he's been around a long, long time. Actually played Dublin under-21 hurling under Joe Fortune, the manager of Ballyboden St Endas. Simon Lambert, such an important guardian of that backline for his team. And of course, Niall Ryan, a hard-running wing forward. He'll hope to open things up. That is a really well-balanced Ballyboden St Endas starting 15, isn't it?
Yeah, like you said, Conal Keeney has been immense this championship so far. Has been the standout player in nearly every game, and someone his size and ball winning ability is just so important for Ballyboden. And when he has players like Paul Ryan about him, who is clinical, Aidan Mellett has been a live wire in there, and then like Niall McMorrow in the middle. There's just, you don't know where to start when you look at that team, because there's so much class.
Let's have a look at the Cuala team. Con O'Callaghan, he can be the key to unlock the Ballyboden St Endas defence at number 11, but he has to get the right kind of ball. Dara O'Connell can run forward and chip over scores. What a backline. Shannon, O'Callaghan and Goff, and of course Dublin goalkeeper Sean Brennan in between the sticks.
Yeah, and like you said, like the backline of Cuala has been so strong. They're a rock. You'd imagine John Shannon will pick up Keeney. He's John Shane is one of the man markers for Cuala over the years, and has a couple of big names under his belt. He man marked Tony Kelly in that final and kept him scoreless. So a big battle there, and like we say, Keeney's such a big player. The other big battle I'm looking at, Oisin, is one I think is going to happen, I hope is going to happen, is James Madden and Con O'Callaghan. James has been flying this year. He's put in some amount of work, and he really is coming into a good run of form, and probably was man of the match in the semi-final against Nafina. So Con is a different handful. He's a different kind of player. He's very explosive, and if Cuala give good ball into him, then there's no full back in the country that stands a chance. But if Ballyboden can put pressure at the pitch, then James Madden will have a right good go with it.
Sean Stack is our referee. He's the man in the middle. We will get underway very shortly, but that will be after our own Naveen. It's county final day. It is strange. It's not the way you'd want it, but it is as it has to be. If you're watching from the area around Cuala and Dalkey and where they represent in Ballyboden, Knockline and all that, then we'd love to hear from you via Twitter at DubGAA official, or you can get us on Instagram and Facebook. Twitter is probably the most direct option. No matter where you're watching this game, be it Dublin or anywhere else around the world, we want to hear from you. As we say, no crowd in here today, but I don't think that'll make a difference to the players. They will just go at it from the start.
No, and they've had a couple of games in Parnell Park with no fans already, so they'll be well used to it. Just looking out, it's actually Cian O'Callaghan picking up Keeney at the edge of the square, and two hugely physical players, so that'll be a good battle. And like we predicted, Madden is marking Cian O'Callaghan.
Sean McDonald has also started for Ballyboden St Endas, and it's Cuala who get the first possession. And the ball goes down the park. Jake Malone looking inside. Cian O'Callaghan was chasing after it. Ballyboden clean it up. This is going to be some intense battle. I imagine there'll be a lot of rucks and maybe just a few frees, and that one goes inward to Cuala thanks to a chop down.
Yeah, Madden just unfortunately did very well to get out with Con there and dispossess him, and then was just diving into Mark, and a nice free for Tracy to settle himself into the game. But I say it's going to be a very intense game. Both teams, like we said, massively focus on turnovers and tackle counts and hooks and blocks, so both teams will really be going after the physical side of things.
David Tracy, the Dublin hurler, had some injury issues last year. Pops that one over. Solid start. Phil McGarry, who earlier in the year, while the strictest of strict lockdowns was on, ran a marathon, well, actually more than a marathon, about 300k within 2k, and raised about €14,000 for the Irish Cancer Society. So fair play to him. It's been a tough summer for the McGarrys, because obviously Finn would have lost his dad, and I suppose on a day like today you're thinking of things like that. But what a way to react by Finn to do what he did. Anyway, Ballyboden have a free in, which will be taken by Paul Ryan, who went off injured in the semi-final, but luckily he has recovered in time and can start for the men in blue and white.
Yeah, just like Tracy's free, it's a nice one for Pabsy to settle himself into. Probably a massive competition between the two lads themselves over the years for spots in the Dublin team, so they'd be no stranger to competing against each other here. And
neither of them have made it their own spot. None of them have owned it, if you know what I mean. There's always a debate between the two.
Yeah, and that's because they're two such top class forwards and top class free takers as well, so hopefully that competition continues.
Sean Brennan found Niall McMorrow. Down the line it goes from Durkin. Many dual players involved here today. Stolen there by Cian O'Callaghan. Back to Sean Brennan. And away it goes. Fired away by Oisin Goff, the very experienced cornerback. Simon Lambert tries to get under this one. Cushions the ball to David Doc O'Connor. O'Connor on the run. Played under 21 for Dublin with Oisin Goff and David Tracy in 09, beaten by Kilkenny in a Leinster final. Joe Fortune, I think, was in charge of that team. I beg your pardon, no, Joe had managed a couple of years before minor, and he managed afterwards with the Dublin under 21s. Either way, it's a Cuala free out.
Yeah, Keane doing well so far. That's two balls, he's one that's gone in, and so these are fascinating battles. The two full forwards on each side. It's Keane versus Cian O'Callaghan and Madden versus Con. They'll probably play a big telling in this game.
Brennan goes long. There's a bit of a tangle there. Cian O'Callaghan trying to get onto it. Goes to his teammate now. It's Colm Cronin. Cronin looking for the first point from play and does not get it.
Yeah, but he'll settle himself in, and Cronin came on the last day as a sub and played very well. Someone who's had a hard time over COVID as a doctor and has been working very hard, so it's good to see him back starting.
That's a long ranger. Will it go all the way? Oh, it does. That's a wonderful score. A brilliant strike from Conor Dooley.
Yeah, massive man and a massive score, and there's the type of scores that'll give Bowden massive energy.
A man who has played in goal, but he told Joe Fortune this year he wants to be outfield. Owen Murphy of Kilkenny also plays outfield for his club. Plays for Glenmore at centre back. They're playing in an intermediate semi-final today. Over that ball is Mark Schutte. Referee's going to throw this in for a clash ball. And Conor Dooley is a powerful man, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he's been a big target man under the puck out, so it's good that he's gone on the score sheet from play as well.
This one has started in a very intense manner. Simon Lambert. Lambert, of course, part of that Dublin team that won the Leinster title back in 2013. There's a bit of jostling going on off the ball. Does bounce to a Ballyboden hand. It's Paul Ryan. Keeney. Keeney back to Ryan. Ryan. That's a beautifully worked score.
Really good score, and these two lads know each other very well. They'd be very good friends, so they just have that understanding. And it's great to see Paul Ryan playing today because he's had serious bother with a groin injury, so has done well to be out there.
Conal Keeney was one of the driving forces of Joe Fortune taking over this Ballyboden team. Dooley. Durkin goes long. Keeney's trying to get under it. Tangling with Cian O'Callaghan. Now picked up by Conroy. Conroy away to Jake Malone. Jake Malone runs into trouble, cleverly offloading it there. Really good ball to Conroy. Conroy loses it. Ballyboden pick it back up, and now it's Simon Lambert. McMorrow. McMorrow has a runner inside. That's Ryan. And that's a really good score.
Really good score because it came from a lot of work to turn Cuala over on the sideline there. Niall Ryan chased about 30 yards to tackle and then ended up 30 yards across in the middle of the field to pick up the ball and put it over. So, you know, scores obviously count the same on the scoreboard, but when you turn over the opposition and put it over like that, they just give you that extra little bit of a boost. So
now the cousins have both scored, Niall and Paul. Who's that going to break to? It breaks to a red jersey, but there's a lot of bodies between Mark Schutte and the goal. McMorrow in to try and dig it out. Stolen back. Niall Carty. Carty has a man outside. That's Tracy. Carty will go himself. And they get the point, but the goal was on.
Yeah, slightly. I think Niall Carty probably made the right decision to put it over in the end. Luke Corcoran did very well to kind of cover the angle of Tracy while cutting off the run. So a good score for Cuala. But just they have that threat going forward, and they're always hungry for goals.
We spoke of busy people during the lockdown. Carty's actually a cousin of Simon Harris, who was the Minister for Health when all this thing started. Finn McGarry. Who's going to win the battle back there? It's Oisin Goff using all his guile and experience. Cuala, the defending champions. Ballyboden, the champions of the year before. They've got it back. Paul Ryan. Doherty. And it's a Cuala ball.
We're just 7 minutes gone now on the clock, but really good game so far. There's a massive energy and intensity to it, and one thing that's clear so far is Bowden have a two-man full forward line of Keeney and Paul Ryan, and they're trying to put high ball in on top of them and isolate them in there, and they've so far gotten on tops in the back. They are very working hard and a lot of intensity there.
McMorrow tries to take it. Goes out over the line. There was so many bodies in the way, it's very hard to see who touched it out. It is a Cuala ball chasing after Mark Schutte. He's got Luke Corcoran in hot pursuit. Luke Corcoran, just such a steady full-back player. Trying to burrow in is David O'Connor. Cuala come away with it. Colm Cronin runs into trouble. David O'Connor standing firm. Going to ground was Shane Durkin, and it's a free out.
Another good battle to look at there is Luke Corcoran and Mark Schutte. They've been no strangers to each other. They've marked each other a good few times in training, and it's always a good battle. The two very physically strong players. So, you know, Mark is such a big player for Cuala, and he's a target man in there. So they'll be looking to isolate him and try to get him on ball as much as they can. So Luke has a tough task ahead of him there.
And this is the thing. So many of these players would know each other so well from Dublin and just meeting over the years as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The majority of players here would know each other very, very well, and that doesn't stop them taking lumps of each other out there.
Well, we will have an 8th time champion today, regardless of who wins, because they're both on 7 titles. Conal Keeney can't keep a hold of it. Diarmuid O'Flynn is in there. Away it goes from Darragh O'Connell. Good direct ball. Schutte. He's really, really strong. Luke Corcoran, though, is really, really dogged. He has given away the free, though.
Yeah, unlucky to probably a bit over enthusiastic going into the tackle, but you know that intensity when you're playing the game, it's hard to take it down that level sometimes. Another easy free for David here.
We've yet to reach 10 minutes, but it has been helter-skelter and non-stop. Aoife on stats, I hope she's got a couple of spare pens because she may well run out of ink here.
Probably, Oisin, the story so far is both set of backs getting on top. A lot of ball has gone into each set of forward lines, and both set of backs are really aggressive and strong and coming out with it.
Tracy with the second free. One between them. Out it goes to Shane Durkin. He's been unlucky with injury at times. Durkin goes long. One's voted Ireland's best looking hurler. We'll get back to that in a second because Cuala are trying to get the ball back. Shannon. Oh, it's given away. It's Paul Ryan. Does it have enough on it? It does. Well, that was a good looking shot and it was set up in some way by Shane Durkin.
Yeah, it's that long ball again. They're trying to target Conal Keeney on them, but
interception here from Aidan Mellett. Mellett sends it over. That was a poor mistake from Sean Brennan.
Yeah, an uncharacteristic mistake from Brennan. Normally he's very accurate on them, and if you're going to play the short ball strategy, these are you're going to have to accept that the odd one is going to go astray.
Mellett has been front and centre for Ballyboden over the last couple of years. He's now involved in the Dublin panel. Here's Sean Moran. Moran is a runner in front. That's O'Flynn. He'll take it on himself. Moran! Oh, what a finish!
What a goal. Just the pace of Sean there to get the ball the second he got it. You could see he was heading towards goal, and unbelievable strike. There was no stopping that.
He had O'Flynn running inside, but he took it on himself. And we're all square. Not sure how it's coming across on the screen, but it's actually a fairly dark day now over Dublin. Ballyboden with the free, and that could well be a card as well from Malone.
Probably yellow card, yeah, but the distance Finn McGarry is getting that puck out, and to have Keeney contesting the ball at the edge of your square from a set play is a huge advantage Bowden have, and even if he's not winning it himself, it breaks 50-50, and Aidan Mellett was in for the break there.
Conal Keeney and Cian O'Callaghan having a bit of a conversation after that. Probably just
all friendly,
talking about the weather and golf handicaps and all that. Yellow card for Jake Malone.
It's a good answer from Bowden from the goal. We always have it in our heads that if you can see the goal, you try to get the next score to stop the momentum. 4 point swings are what a lot of teams define as momentum these days, so it's important to get the next one.
And get the next one they do. Paul Ryan with his fourth already in the game. 2 from freeze, 2 from play. Sean Brennan, who no doubt has the experience to put that clanger behind him. He gave the ball pretty much straight to Mellett, and Mellett popped it over. Sean Moran trying to get it back in hand. We know what he can do when he gets a run at goal, trying to poke it up with Shane Durkin. It was a bookmakers, by the way, who held a poll about the best looking hurlers, and Shane Durkin came out on top. Conor O'Callaghan is coming out on top at the moment. Lovely ball inside to Malone. Malone makes some space and slots it over. Good answer from him to his yellow card.
Good score for Jake Malone, and one of his strongest assets is he has some engine on him. He will run all day long. We like most teams measure GPS these days, and Jake will consistently come out on top. He really has some engine on him.
James Madden is dropping back towards the keeper. Madden, one of the finest talents in Dublin at the moment, I think it's fair to say. Not to be confused with the AFL's James Madden, who's also of Ballyboden.
No, James is really coming to a good bit of form. He's an exceptional hurler and an exceptional man mark. He just uses physicality and tenaciousness to get across the line. He really is having a good year. It
was an exceptional catch from McMorrow. Lambert runs onto it and slips. Cool a bunch around him. Dooley's in there as well, escaping with it as Lambert. How did he come away with this one? Sean McDonald inside. Connor Dooley trying to make it his, but just couldn't quite make it, and Shannon is now over it. And it is a 65. It's so quick, isn't it?
Massive intensity to it so far. Really, really good game. Probably the fear would have been that it would have been scrappy, both teams trying to feel each other out, but having the first 14 minutes gone so far anyway, both teams are really going hell for leather at it.
I know this will seem like a silly statement considering there are no fans in the ground, but it's a good atmosphere, isn't it? It's being generated by the players, and there's a lot of noise coming from both benches.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of excitement around, and even talking to the stewards and people coming into the ground, and it's kind of 50-50. Nobody know who will call it, so a really good sense of excitement around Parnell Park.
Paul Ryan puts it over. This county final is a bit like the fight at the end of Rocky 3, Apollo Creed versus Rocky. No one there, but apparently one of the best bouts of all time. That's what it's like with no crowd. Just because there's no one there, it doesn't mean it's an exciting contest. You would love people to be here, but unfortunately they can't. We just have to play it the way it is, and we're lucky to still have sport, I think. That's a really good intervention by Oisin Goff. Ball down the line from David Tracy. Well tidied up by David O'Connor. McGarry winds up and fires it long.
Bowden definitely, one thing is clear is they're trying to put that high ball in on top of Keeney, and like we said already, that he mightn't win it himself, but the ball is definitely going to stick in around there, and Bowden get numbers in around the break.
Paul Ryan fancies this. His manager Joe Fortune, no doubt, with full confidence in him to put this one over. Fortune, of course, won Leinster titles as a manager with the Dublin Miners in 07 and the under-21s in 2016. Has already won county title with Ballyboden to his name. Here's Paul Ryan, doesn't catch it quite right.
Yeah, like I've had Joe Fortune at underage levels at 21, and we won at Leinster, and Joe's greatest strength is that he really connects with players on a level that you feel that he has your back, and you feel that he has confidence in you, and that does a lot. He's a really big people's person, and players want to play for him. So like Bowden are a team that, from losing to Kilmacud so early in the year, probably by a good margin, they've really grown into every game, and today have performed very well so far.
He said they had very honest conversations after that. He said there was no blame attributed or anything like that. He said just the management admitted maybe they didn't do what they needed to do, and the players certainly said, look, we didn't do what we needed to do on that particular occasion, but they bounced back well, didn't they?
Probably very long conversations knowing Joe Fortune. He's known to keep a team there for quite a while after games and sessions, but it's all part of it. You can't question his commitment, and what he's done in Dublin hurling has been great.
Yeah, well, he's a Wexford man who's had a big impact on Dublin. I don't think there's anyone who knows Dublin hurling better than Joe, given the work he's done with development squads and underage teams, and of course now Ballyboden. On the other side, you've got Willie Marr from Tipperary, who's working with David Herity this year, who actually managed the Dublin Camogie team for a while, got them to an All-Ireland semi-final. They bridged a long gap to the semi-finals there. We're just having a look at some of the highlights of the first half so far, the first half of the first half, and there have been many, including that goal by Sean Moore, and what a belter it was. David Tracy has played well so far as well. He's landed both frees that he's been presented with. Conall Keeney, even if he doesn't have a hurley, he's still effective. Paul Ryan, lovely finish from him. Mellett getting the ball straight from the puck out accidentally. Sean Brennan gave it to him. And this is the goal. And we'll just get a look at this before we restart. And there we go. And we're going again after the water break. Hard to know who the water break will have benefited there, Owen, because in a lot of games that we've done together this year, it has been to the clear benefit of one team who were struggling, but certainly they were both on top there.
No, both teams very evenly matched. And looking out into the pitch now, this is where the danger for me is that Cuala have isolated Khan one-on-one on the square, and there's about 50 yards of space in front of him. And so Marshute got a nasty one there to the face.
It bounced off his face guard, and it fairly rattled him because he just went to ground, and he wouldn't do that unless he was
no, you can see
hurt
straight
or
away
surprised
he
or
got a straight in the face guard. That's a sore one.
Brendan O'Connell, the on-field physio for Ballyboden, watching on as the Cuala physio comes in. Simon Lambert goes across towards Dooley. Ballyboden, can they find a way through here? Paul Ryan again not giving up on this one. McMorrow now in to help out, goes to ground, referee says no foul. McMorrow bounced back up, tried to find Ryan, instead it's pickpocketed by Sean Tracy, falls into the path of Simon Lambert. Lambert getting it forward by any means necessary. Here's Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan spills it out over the line. That's a Cuala ball.
It's a really good game so far. Rushing both teams. The tackling that we saw there in that sequence was unbelievable. Niall McMorrow was on the ground, and then 20 yards later he's sprinting after Sean Tracy to get the dispossession. And it really, when you see lads like Paul Ryan tackling, you know you're in a game.
Tracy was trying to pop it over to Con there, but cutting it off with Shane Durkin. James Madden. Great hand by Paul Doherty. Lovely stick pass to Niall Ryan. Ryan trying to get away from Tracy. We know Ryan is a hard runner. He's also a scorer. He's already got one. He's looking for two. And he's got two.
Yeah, he's such a direct runner when he gets the ball. He's powerful, and that's where he buys his time. So 2 really good points for Niall Ryan so far.
Cian O'Callaghan. Again, Con is the option, but he's completely crowded out. A slip up from Shane Durkin. Conor Keeney. No one there. He's frustrated. You can hear it after he strikes it, and Conroy just shepherds that one out. They've been level twice in this game, but at the moment Ballyboden lead by 2. That's a slender lead in hurling terms. David Tracy tries to make it even more slender with a really good score, his first from play.
They're the margins. I could see what Keeney was trying to do, and Paul Ryan just slipped, and then quick puck out from Sean Brennan over the bar, and that's it. Could be a potentially 2-point swing, and in a final there, the margins to win it for you.
We mentioned that Ballyboden are going for a double. So are Cuala. Their senior Bs are in the B final next week, or senior 2s I should say. It's A and B in hurling, it's 1 and 2 in football. Here's Conor Dooley. Has he drawn that one in? He has. It's wonderful.
Yeah, second from Dooley, and 2 really good scores, both under pressure, and they're 2 really good scores from play to get him into the game.
This one has not let up. Good take by Mark Schutte. A footballer of some merit, part of Jim Gavin's squad for a while. Mark Schutte can't keep it on target.
No, probably had more time than he realised there. He'd be disappointed with that for his own standards.
Really good take by Paul Doherty. Niall McMorrow was really frustrated because he wanted the ball but he didn't get it. Now Cuala have it back. Free out.
Yeah, just a high tackle, not an awful lot in it, I think. Harsh yellow, but early by the letter of the law, yellow.
Yellow card for Keeney. Keeney has some medal collection. An All-Ireland club medal, Leinster football medals, Leinster hurling medal. And numerous county medals. Really good play by Colin Cronin. Cronin didn't catch it right. Finn McGarry tidies it up.
Yeah, Finn did really well there to first save and then take the touch out of trouble. And again, this long ball onto Keeney.
Durkin long ball out of defence. Retired from the Dublin senior hurling squad last year. Conal Keeney picks it up. He'll never retire. And why would he?
Yeah, class is permanent. Just the little shimmy to get around there and put it over. Very good score.
Brilliant win of the ball there by Simon Lambert. Has options inside. One of them is McMorrow. McMorrow spots that Paul Doherty is completely unmarked. Doherty is going to try and get his first score, but he doesn't.
No, and probably the one criticism Paul Doherty have from a few previous games, he's great at getting in positions, but his execution in that final passage of putting the ball over the bar can be quite poor sometimes, and he's finding himself in really good positions where he has time, so just settle himself down a small bit more.
Just a second wide for Ballyboden. Down the line it goes from Stephen O'Connor, who actually was in the Meath football squad under Andy McEntee for a while. Mellett. Brilliant tackle. Mellett tries to get it on the second attempt. It's a free rather than a penalty. Or is it a penalty? It is a penalty. Well, let's have a look at that. I think
it looked like
it's gone against the keeper.
A shoulder into the back while he was a very harsh penalty. Great tackle here originally from Oisin Goff to get across and dispossess him, and Sean Brennan comes in here.
Well, it wasn't shoulder on shoulder, but
very needless.
Yeah.
Very, very needless.
Paul Ryan, who went off immediately after scoring that penalty against Nafina in the semi-final. It was a beautiful penalty.
I don't think he'll be going off today. He's having a great performance so far.
Ryan against Brennan. A big moment in the 2020 Dublin Senior A hurling final. Oh, what a save! But it's Keeney who follows up and shovels home.
What a save originally. We've seen Sean Brennan save penalties like that before, and it was very well struck by Paul Ryan, but Keeney quickest to react there.
6 between them. Great save by Brennan. And from the Cuala defensive point of view, will they be disappointed that Keeney just was pretty much unmarked as he flicked it up and sent it home?
Yeah, absolutely. As a back, your job there is to hold the runs and don't let players in on your goalkeeper like that. Sean Brennan did his job by saving it, and Cuala should have kept out, but a good response by David Tracy there, I think it was.
Yep, second point from play, 4th overall, 5 between them.
Yeah, it's interesting the tactic that both teams half forward line are nearly playing in the middle third, and both teams are trying to leave space in front of the full forward line, so a lot of space inside, but it means that the middle third is very congested.
He just couldn't quite hold it, Aidan Mellett, who won that penalty. It's kicked out over the line. It's a line ball. Cuala say should have been a free for a bit of a loose shoulder, but it will be a Ballyboden line ball.
And Bowden probably have been the better team this first half, and the scoreline probably reflects that. The Bowden backs have certainly got on top. I don't think Con has touched the ball. Maybe he's got it in his hand once, so James Wadden is coming on top in that battle, certainly so far.
Paul Ryan digs it wide, a third wide for Ballyboden. Cuala are already making a change. Now, I didn't quite catch who went off.
Niall
I think
Carty.
Is it Niall Carty who's going off? Scored a point and is going off, and replacing him is Colm Shannon. Colm Shannon, an inter-county player, plays with Cavan. Ryan off to Keeney. Keeney didn't catch it right.
No, great win by Paul Ryan to get out in front of Keeney there. And sometimes when Paul Ryan is on form like this, he's very difficult to mark, because one of his strengths is that he makes 2 or 3 runs in the full forward line before he makes his direct run out, and it'll be quite hard as a full back to track them. So Paul's had a big influence in this game so far.
Simon Lambert, another wide. They've been wasteful in the last minute or two.
Yeah, and they're playing with whatever small wind is there, so hopefully now come the end of the game they won't rue these chances, and off your left side there with a bit of pressure you might be better off playing the ball in instead of going for the Hail Mary.
Sean Brennan goes to the wing, goes long. Moran, Tracy's ahead of him. Moran looks inside. O'Flynn, who'll be part of the Senior B football panel for next week's final. O'Flynn might be better off popping it off. Does Colm Cronin does the right thing and sends it over the crossbar for his first point of the game.
You can see how hungry Cuala are for goals. Sean Moran probably had the chance to put it over himself there, try to work it, but great defence from Simon Lambert to get across and to stand up Dermot O'Flynn there.
Finn McGarry deep inside Cuala territory. Great catch by Conal Keeney, who's lost his hurley for the second time. And it's pulled wide by Sean McDonald.
No, I think Bowden are trying to create that mismatch. He has had a couple of high balls put on top of it with Keane O'Callaghan, and the ball's broke, but the one time he's there with Michael Conway, who probably is a younger player, they targeted when Keeney won it clean.
McMorrow tangled with Shane in there. But breaking through is Niall Carty now. He definitely has the pace. Does he have the finish? Yes, he does. Third from Niall Ryan.
Yeah, and we've said it already. That's his massive strength. He's so direct when he gets the ball and runs at you like that. And once you beat that first man in the half forward line or in the half back line, everything opens up and you can go aggressive at it then.
Doherty deflects into the path of his teammate who has a shot. It's Paul Ryan. Great stuff from Paul Ryan. Wasn't the cleanest of balls to him, but he still guided it over. 3 from play, 3 from frees for him so far.
Yeah, he's having one of them days, and when he's on form, he really is a difficult man to mark. So Boden need to keep feeding him the ball. And you see Cian O'Callaghan, who has had a lot of hamstring trouble going down here. We'd hope it's more of a time wasting thing than an injury concern. He has had a lot of trouble with hamstrings over the last while.
Malone is making a break for it, but instead Brennan goes long. Up to try and catch it with Sean Moore and couldn't do so. We'll go for the clash ball. I think we'll go for another clash ball. Stealing away Sean Moore. Con O'Callaghan is completely isolated inside, but it still might fall for him. Tries to get it away one-handed. Well, Cuala, did they have a shout for a penalty there?
No, I think that was really good defending. Won't let my bias creep in there, but I think it was just stood him up well.
Conor Dooley went long. 2 were waiting for it. Picking it up there is Darragh O'Connell. Darragh O'Connell, who's played for both Dublin and Kerry. Originally from Kerry, of course. He's up here teaching. Cian O'Callaghan. He's been dispossessed. Here's Paul Doherty. Didn't make the contact he needed to make. Oisin Goff goes long. Breaks into the path of a Cuala man. Con O'Callaghan is the target. O'Callaghan trying to dance around James Madden. O'Callaghan over the crossbar it goes. He did have his eye on goal, but in the end he had to settle for the point.
Yeah, Con, when he gets the ball, he always tries to go for the goal first, and then if it's not on, he'll stick it over. But like, Cuala are so dangerous that they only need that one chance to put the ball into space, and Con will take you on and score a goal. So you can never rule them out, and a 6-point lead, 5 points, whatever it is, can be very, very quickly caught up with a player of that class in there.
You can actually hear his medal collection jingling from here, Con O'Callaghan. All-Ireland football crowns, All-Ireland club hurling crowns, Leinster titles, county titles obviously.
I think my bias might have creeped in there. I'm getting a few texts saying that maybe Con was fouled for penalties. We'll have to go back and read that.
If you're a full forward, it was a foul. If you're a full back like you, it wasn't.
No
different
penalties.
rules for different positions. Picked up by Sean Tracy, goes to ground, gets the free out. This is the first time there's been a relative calm in this game.
Yeah, at the same time, it's still retaining that sense of excitement around the ground. It's a really, really good game so far. A lot of good hurling being played and a lot of aggression. And
Mark Schutte to narrow the gap. Mark Schutte. Good score. Really well taken.
A common trait all Cuala forwards have is, and probably stemming in from the Matty Kenny area and William Mars following on now, when they get the ball they run so direct at the goal, and they're such big physical lads. They have like Cian O'Connor, our strength and conditioning coach, was in with them for a couple of years, and they're such big strong lads. When they run at the goal, it's very hard to foul them or to dispossess them clearly. So they either get a foul or get the shot away. So Mark would be happy with that.
Yeah, you mentioned Cian O'Connor, of course. The fact that she has big game experience herself probably helps in her coaching of these guys, because they'll respect what she says. She's a former All-Ireland winning Dublin ladies footballer. Half time, Ballyboden lead by 4. Could have been more, but could have been less as well. Paul Doherty being dragged down there. He got the free, which Paul Ryan stuck over. He's been excellent so far. Making a run, Con O'Callaghan. Inside it went to Malone. He was just after picking up a yellow card before this. Took his point very, very well. Paul Ryan. One of 3 frees that he scored for Ballyboden. Did have a penalty save, but it wasn't the worst save in the world from a Ballyboden point of view. We'll get to that in a second. Niall Ryan, as we say, a hard runner. Took some tackles there, shipped them off. Took his point. David Tracy, completely unmarked, most un-Ballyboden-like, but when he got the opportunity, he took it. Connor Dooley. Lovely wrists there. Good score. Sean Brennan going long, trying to cause some issues inside. Spilled off the stick of Colm Cronin. Cronin doing the right thing here, pulling on the ground, but it just didn't connect right. Conal Keeney, he has been immense. And that was a great point. Into the corner where Mellett has a chance to take and turn. And it can cause issues, as we will see here. Oisin Goff doing well initially, then Sean Brennan a little bit loose and giving away the penalty. So keep an eye on 12. That's Conal Keeney with the white stripes through the blue helmet. Good save by Brennan, but Keeney first in, and he didn't just wildly pull on it. He kind of flicked it up and sent it home.
Yeah, Keeney, he's just something else. You seem to run out of things to say about him because every match he steps it up another gear, and you know, he one of the best players that Dublin Hurling has ever seen, and Ballyboden has seen definitely. So, you know, like even with Cuala marshalling him so tightly, he's still able to get on ball and creates chances.
Diarmuid O'Flynn, the only starting forward not to score for Cuala, but he did create a point there. Colm Cronin tapping it over, his one and only score of the first half. Niall Ryan storming forward again. That is third point of the game. Paul Doherty, an unusual kind of pass. It did work out. And Paul Ryan sending it home. We've seen some really nice scores in this game, including this one from Conor O'Callaghan. Wanted to go for goal, but saw the route was blocked and that he was better off just going over rather than under. Shute. Good point, because he was under pressure. And as you spoke about, Owen, the Cuala forwards do stay cool under pressure when they're running at goal. They seem always able to pop off a shot at goal.
Yeah, and if you look at the 6 forwards there, all 6 of them have played intercounty for Dublin, or been on a panel. So, you know, they have a lot of experience there and cool heads, and they've played in a lot bigger matches than, not a lot bigger matches, but they've played in All-Ireland finals and things. So this will be nothing new to them, and they can keep that composure.
It is half time in the Senior A Dublin Hurling final. Ballyboden lead by 4 at the break. We'd love to hear from you no matter where you're watching around the world. You can get us via Twitter at DubGAA Official. You can get us on Instagram and Facebook as well, but in truth you're probably better off going via Twitter. That is the most direct route. If you're a Ballyboden fan, we'd love to hear from you. We'd also love to hear from Cuala fans. But even if you're not a supporter of any of the clubs, and even if you're not watching in Dublin, no matter where you're watching around the world, we would love to hear from you. We've got a couple of messages coming in. We'll get to those in just a moment. But how would you call the second half, Owen?
Too early to call, I think.
Pick a winner, come on. Reputation on the line.
I'm still going to go. I said before the game Cuala, I'm still going to go with Cuala because they're so dangerous, and once they isolate Con in there, and even though James Madden is doing really well on him, he only needs that split second of a chance. And once Cuala get players into the game like Darragh O'Connell, Sean Tracy, David Tracy, they have so much class. But at half time, Bowden are definitely the happier of the team. They've outworked Cuala. They've gotten a lot of scores from play. Paul Ryan is playing well. Keeney is always playing well. When you look at, if whoever's looking at the screen at the moment, the standard and professionalism of the Cuala outfit is unbelievable. You hear stories of the stuff they do, and they're essentially an inter-county team that we've been here in Parnell Park for a lot of games, and I haven't seen anyone with a whiteboard out like that walking over tactics at half time. And that's just all the forwards.
And a split, yeah, that's interesting. I was going to pick that up with you. Willie Maher went up and spoke to the backs, and David Herity is down speaking to the forwards. I wonder what that's about.
I'd say Oisin, now I'm Cuala are fairly tight-lipped about what they do, but I say they have massive KPIs and with their key performance indicators. I say they have targets all the time, so they have tackle targets they want to hit, they have score targets they want to hit, they have puck out retention targets they want to hit, and at half time they're so professional. They're not going in and they're not shouting and roaring, saying, "Come on, lads, we need to lift it, we need to do this." What they're doing is they're going through a structured process where they talk through their tackle count, their puck outs, and they only focus on 2 or 3 key bits of information. So it's not information overload at half time where they're shouting a load of stuff that you want to go out and improve on. They're focusing on 2 or 3 key elements, and I'd say one key element that they're going to be looking at is getting the ball into Conor Callan there, because he's so dangerous, and he's a player that takes up a lot of commentary time, and rightly so, because he has such massive influence over games. And against Lucan in the last 15 minutes, him and Sean Tracy were the 2 biggest factors, because Sean Tracy, the ball he was putting in was unbelievable, and then Con, once he gets that ball out in front, so powerful that no full back can stop him. You see many defenders have tried, but that power and directness running is extremely hard to stop when the ball goes in. So Cuala are a serious outfit and are a long way from being gone from this game.
Well, off camera, Joe Fortune is, after walking out to the 45 on the pitch, he's kind of giving a message or two to his players. Cuala will join us now for the second half. At half time, it is 113 to 1-9. The second half of the second half, I suppose, and you know, sorry, I beg your pardon. The second half of the first half was interesting. A lot of big points there. There was 1 point between the teams at the water break. Ballyboden scored 1-5 after that water break. Cuala got 5 points. Ballyboden at 4 wides. The penalty on 23 minutes put 6 points between the teams. Keeney getting in on the rebound, but there's 4 points between them now as we go into the second half. And we are underway for the second half on a nippy day in Dublin. It is county final day, and even though there are no crowds here, it's still the game that everyone in Dublin hurling is watching. Malone steals away. He's already got a point. He might fancy another one here. He's brought to ground. He's at least created the opportunity for one.
Probably a yellow card for Simon Lambert here as well. And Jake brings that, like we said already, the fitness that he's playing with number 7. He's back wing back there and charging up the pitch and bringing the free. And as a half forward, that's the last thing you want to see, is your man charging up and putting you on the back foot.
Well, we said this is the game that everyone in Dublin hurling is watching. We've people watching from all around the world, including Barry O'Shane, who's in Manhattan. He's watching with his uncle Finn, who has 6 nephews from the O'Callaghan and Shannon families across both Cuala panels today. David Tracy knocking that one over, his 3rd point of the game. Sorry, his 3rd free of the game, his 5th point. Earlier on, Cuala's B team lost in the county final to St Finbarr's at the senior B final. This is the main focus, the senior A. Tracy, lovely little pass in behind. He went for goal there, Moran, but it was a brave block.
Luke Corkin did very well. It's a brave thing to do, to get across and put your body in front of that. Sean Moran probably should have taken his point, but again, like we've said already, that Cuala are just so hungry for goals.
Corcoran did well there. Did you expect any other result from David Tracy? Probably not. 2 frees already in the second half.
Yeah, just 2 points between the teams now, and Bowden, probably with the slight bit of dominance they had, would have preferred to be slightly ahead, more ahead at half time.
What a catch by Dooley. Extra time and penalties if required. I feel the need to tell you that early because it's a real possibility. Paul Doherty. That's some score from Paul Doherty.
Excellent score, and it came from 2 Dooley winning primary possession and then Doherty winning primary possession. 2 big high catches like that, and great score.
Brennan tries to pick out O'Flynn. O'Flynn on his bike trying to get away from Lambert. There's a collision between Shannon and McMorrow off the field. O'Flynn stays going. O'Flynn! Taken well by Finn McGarry. He's bottled up, flings it out to David O'Connor. It's a free out.
Yeah, and you know, like twice now in the second half, Cuala have had chances to put the ball over the bar, and haven't. I know they've gotten a 65 from the first one, but 2 points between the games. Those 2 chances they could have taken scores.
Oh, and in sad news, my junior F team have lost their semi-final, beaten by Fingallians this morning. We actually trained this year.
a similar standard to here, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's pretty much a carbon copy. Collected well. On his way is Sean McDonald. I think we were the last Crokes team standing in Championship, so it is a disappointing day. Anyway, caught brilliantly. Away it goes from O'Flynn. Shane Durkin tried to collect it. He's beaten to it by David Tracy. Tracy has enough. His third of the half. He's on fire.
Yeah, he's playing really well, and he ran 40 yards to get under that break there from the ball in from Dermot O'Flynn, so really good score from Tracy.
McGarry goes long. Conall Keeney trying to get under it. He's always a good target to have. Keeney has gone down. I thought for a second he was hurt, but he's okay. Going after it again. Holding off Conor O'Callaghan and kicking it forward. Dooley. Could go out wide and does. Niall Ryan. Good running again by Ryan. Conor Dooley. They work the angle. It's Shane Durkin. It's wide. Could have a man down.
Sean Troy, I think Keeney just came into the back of them there for that poke out there, but what's noticeable so far, Oisin, in the second half, the Cuala bench have become very loud. Every time Bowden seem to have the ball, they're shouting how long, how long. So definitely playing more of a part and adding to the atmosphere here.
Darren Nicholl, the Cuala physio, has been quite busy in the first game. He's also the physio at the B team, but I don't think he could do both today under the rules. Cuala have made a change. Coming in is the very experienced Simon Timlin, who did play for Dublin once upon a time. Going off is Michael Conroy. Conroy, a youngster. He was in the Dublin under-20 panel last year. Timlin, such an experienced player, such a good player. Skipping ball into the hand of Tracy. Can he control it? I beg your pardon, that's actually Nicky Kenny. Willie Maher not afraid to make changes. Made one early enough in the game. With Shannon coming on in the first half, replacing Niall Carty. Colm Cronin trying to get under that one as Mark Shute bounces back to McGarry. McMorrow has to be careful here. Good pass. Shane Durkin. Can be risky to go crossfield, but Niall Ryan has a bit of time, has a bit of space. And now just goes direct where it's 3-on-3. Just wouldn't fall for Dooley. Does fall for his teammate. It's Paul Ryan again. It's a good score from Paul Ryan. His first of the second half.
Yeah, a really good score. I think the first time he touched the ball in the first half, but having said that, it's been only the first ball to go into him, so good return.
Trying to get there now is Stephen O'Connor. He's going to let it off for his teammate, but it's O'Flynn who pickpockets them. And it's a free in. And he didn't have to make that foul.
No, a needless free to give away there. They were in control, and David Tracy will put this ball over the bar.
Interestingly enough, both of these teams didn't top their groups, but it just goes to show you that the big teams do it when they need to. They're both in the final. They're both performing well. I think that's fair to say.
Been a very good game so far. Very interesting. A lot of good performers on either side. Colm Cronin's playing well. I know his brother Jambo Cronin's watching. He's a long Cuala supporter with Finton and Porter as well. So you know it's a shame they can't be here, but it's a great game of hurling for everyone to be watching.
Well, there was a time when, if a pandemic like this struck, it would have been impossible to show these games, but with streaming and all that jazz, it can be done now, and we're delighted to bring you these games, and we are absolutely honoured to actually get to these games. I mean, we are in a very privileged position to actually be here today, so we hope that we're bringing you the thrills and spills of county final day the way you'd like them. Simon Lambert, Simo as he's called, getting back up. Joe Fortune has nothing but good things to say about him and his drive and his ambition and his standards.
Yeah, he's a really key player for Bowden back then. He's been a good performer all year for them, and his distribution into the forward line is one of the big strengths that Ballyboden have.
Keeney trying to win a breaking ball, something he does really well. Cuala get the decision.
Yeah, Ballyboden are doing well just to keep that 2 points ahead. Anytime Cuala get a score, Bowden seem to be able to respond, but
it's 4-2 in the second half, if that makes sense.
Probably a slower second half than we started in the first, but it's hard to keep that intensity going over the whole period of play.
Darragh O'Connell doesn't get the height or elevation on that one that he wanted, but here's Shannon. Keeney has a look up and decides to go himself and can't keep it on frame.
No, rare wide from Keeney.
Cian O'Callaghan. Malone is short, but he'll go long. Might break into the path of Con O'Callaghan. Diarmuid O'Flynn can't get it into the hand, it squirts out. Diarmuid O'Flynn runs onto it, but the free out has been given.
Yeah, it looked like just a loose hurl caught Niall McMurrough on the way out. It's been interesting though, Bowden haven't let Cuala play the way they normally play, that they put a huge emphasis on stopping the ball going into the full forward line, and as a result Con is now around centre forward trying to get on ball, but they really have limited the supply into the full forward line, which is Cuala's game plan and where they're so effective, and they've won a couple of All-Irelands from feeding that dangerous full forward line, so Bowden have done really well on that front.
I'm looking at the flags and looking at Paul Ryan, and the breeze seems to be against him, but as we were saying in the first game, there is a slight swirl in it.
When Paul's confidence is up as well, though, you wouldn't be. It's a very, very long free out now, don't get me wrong, but when Paul's confidence up, you wouldn't be surprised.
Just to remind you, that is his own 45 he's standing on. He's going for it. It's going to drop.
Square ball.
Brennan. It's going to be intercepted by Paul Ryan, who will go for it from there. It's going to drop to the back posts. It's kept alive. Keeney playing a bit of hockey with it there. Going to ground is Oisín Goff. He's got the free out.
Yeah, Oisín has played well. He's been out in front of his man and did well to sweep up them. Anytime the ball is in around your square like that, you just want to try to get it out as quick as possible. So Oisín did well to get it up and just knock to the head here.
Physio back in. Darren Nichol, not McNichol. We've got a tweet from Rob Hartnett who says a couple of goals in the second half would make the commentary even better on Dubs TV. Rob may or may not be a big Cuala fan. Trying to dig it out is Stephen O'Connor. Shane Durkin couldn't find a fellow blue and white. Referee's going to throw this in again. He's actually done well, Sean Stack, the referee, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that this is our first time mentioning him is probably a good sign. It's a thankless job, and players just want the game to flow and want the whistle to be blown as little as possible.
Away it goes from Sean Moore, and got a belter of a goal in the first half. Has got a really good point in the second.
Yeah, he's doing well up there, and obviously normally Sean Moore to be in the backs and be supplying the ball, but he's done well. He's a great hurler and a great strike at the ball, so when he gets the the chance, he'll put it over.
McMorrow winning the foot race is Oisin Goff, but in hot pursuit is Aidan Mellett. Mellett sends him to ground, but just can't get that ball clean. A really good corner back play from Goff, who just did what he could to hold him off, but Ballyboden might be able to get in here. It's won back by Sean Tracy, who again can't get it into the hand. There was a slap down and it's a free in.
Good, again, Oisin Goff is playing very well. Good defence from him originally. I think there was a loose slap with the hurl there. There's just a free in, but you know, still this will put Bowden back 2 points ahead. They just seem to be able to maintain that 2-point advantage.
Well, I thought we were going to get to the water break with one between them, just as it was in the first half, funnily enough.
There really is very little between the sides. It's been a great game.
And this will be the third time that they'll be level, presuming Paul Ryan puts it over, which he would, blindfolded I would presume. The force is strong in Paul Ryan today. Cuala making a change. Diarmuid O'Flynn has worked incredibly hard, but his day is done. Coming in is Nicky Kenny. Everyone just assumed he was a relative of Matty when Matty was at Cuala, but he's not. He's actually from Kilkenny, Nicky Kenny. Although he did play in Go. He played for St Thomas's for a season, if memory serves. Good pick up by Paul Doherty. Intercepted by Malone. He's blocked down. He was too casual. Chasing after it is Keeney. His pursuer has lost his hurley. That man was John Shannon. Mellett again a bit too casual. Shannon slide tackles in and dispossesses him, but McMorrow runs onto the break. Lovely ball in behind, trying to get there is Sean McDonald. McDonald steps back, gives himself a bit of space, comes back to Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan couldn't get it into the hand, and away it goes from Simon Timlin. Really good defending from Cuala.
Really good defending from Cuala. Now a quick break. Those two diving blocks and the scoring chance created now.
Con is the aim, but McGarry gets out, and the referee's given a free in. Ballyboden are incensed.
Yeah, maybe Madden was just dragging Con back slightly. You can see you can see what Madden's. Con is such a physically strong player that you have to, if you don't make physical contact before the ball is in, he'll be able to win it. So it's a fine line that Madden's trying to play.
Sean Moran taps it over. And we're at the water break. Now, what will both managers be saying to their teams in the very short time that they have here?
Probably, if Joe Fortune would probably be saying to his lads to keep it going, that they need to keep that intensity up. Probably wouldn't change an awful lot because they're playing both teams are playing very well. The one maybe criticism was that there was a few less scores in that half. They need to be putting the scoreboard ticking over. They got a couple of blocks, block downs and things like that. But been a cracking game so far. There's been a massive intensity to it. Cuala probably still just, I know they're a point down, but they're very hard to overlook past. They had a massive experience, and it was probably around this stage against Lucan where they kicked to life in the semi-final.
Well, they have been level twice, but there has never been too much between them, even though at one stage Ballyboden had maybe 3 or 4 point lead, but even then you always expected Cuala to get back into it, and of course get back into it they did. Only one between them now, and it's hard to see it letting up, isn't it? I mean, I know they've been at it full pace in the first half. Maybe it was a bit more free flowing than the second, but it's still been tough. But they won't drop off because these are two incredibly fit teams.
Yeah, and the experience that they have in their last couple of games, the Lucan game will stand massively to Cuala, that they've been in an intense game and have had to dug deep and pull it out. Ballyboden probably had a not as competitive a game as we thought they would against Nafina. So whether they have it in their legs, probably have a slightly older guard there as well in some positions. So whether they have it in their legs for the final 5-10 minutes, but it won't be for a lack of trying anyway. Both teams have really gone for this game full-blooded.
Where is the New Ireland Assurance Cup going for the rest of 2020 and for the bulk of 2021? Is it going to Dalkey or is it going to Furhouse? Furhouse, Ballyboden, Knockline, that kind of region, you know what I mean. Dalkey stroke Killiney. Here's a long ranger, which goes wide.
You'd probably be disappointed with that. And like we've said already, the form he's on, he'd normally stick them, but
that's a fantastic catch. Sean Moore. Con O'Callaghan out in front. Madden stuck to him like glue. Brilliant work from James Madden. It's about the toughest job there is in hurling or Gaelic football, man marking Con O'Callaghan, but he's done well. Coming away with it is David O'Connor. That's a blind pass, and now Con is in. Can he get the shot away? He's been dragged back. It might be a penalty. Con wants the goal as it stands. The referee, what's his decision going to be? It hasn't been ruled out yet. If it's a goal, it's a big one.
Yeah, a lot of talking points there. Maybe Sean Stack blew the whistle too prematurely there. Shane Durkin just under pressure there, and then sorry, it was David. No, it was Shane Durkin just threw the ball back, and you can't give Con O'Callaghan them opportunities. Yeah, Sean probably should have. He's had a good game so far, but should have played advantage. Penalty.
They wanted the goal, they'll have to settle for the penalty.
Oh, that's a killer for Ballyboden now, who have done it so much right, and just to give away something needless like that. And Shane Durkin had a great game. He's done well to recover from a hamstring injury to get back, and they're just the little things, the killers.
Off camera, Con is receiving some treatment. I think he will come back in. Now here's the thing, if they score the goal, this is fine. If they don't, that's a huge call.
Yeah, huge call. And yeah, you have to feel for Sean Stack, because everybody watching the game could see the foul and just probably blew it because he saw the penalty and probably should have left it just 2 or 3 seconds more.
Sean Moore, who's already got one from play.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it, he will go for goal here.
No, he's one of the best penalties. He's bailed Cuala out of trouble before. He's bailed Dublin out of trouble before in these, and he's as good a striker of the ball as you'll find anywhere.
He scored goals from more difficult situations.
Yeah.
Sean Moran against Finn McGarry. Moran, what a strike! Cuala in front in the county final. McGarry tries to go quickly out to David O'Connor. Referee blows the whistle.
Bowden will need a big response now from this. It's a hammer blow to concede a goal like that. Sean Moran very rarely going to make a mistake from there. It's such a powerful strike. So Bowden, like I said, they need a powerful response from this. They're going to look to lads like Keeney and Dooley, big ball winners here.
It's Cuala's first time in the lead since the first minute. What did we say earlier on about the best teams doing it when they needed to do it? Ballyboden aren't bad themselves, champions of 2 years ago. Went on a 5 in a row run between 2007 and 2011. They know what it takes to win a final. Moran tries to get over this one. Trying to sweep it along the ground there was Pierce Christie. Christie after it again. Bravely throwing himself in there. Colin Cronin collects it. Shannon. Little bit too much on that one, but Nicky Kenny's still going to get there. Kenny has a look up. Oh, that's a really good hook. But Kenny might get a second bite of it here. Oh, he should have picked it up or maybe even pulled it out towards Mark Shute. And now it's a free out. And again, with all of these moments, you're thinking, will that be the difference?
Yeah. Luke Corcoran just needs to move the ball faster like that. Bowden did very well to, once you concede a goal like that, you want to retain possession. So to get the ball off quickly, did very well, but move the ball quicker then.
Ballyboden have struggled for scores in this second half. They've only got 3 points. Cuala, outside of the goal, have scored 6 points.
Probably the biggest criticism of Bowden in the second half is just they need to get more scorers from play. Paul Ryan scored from play, but apart from that, they've been kind of struggling up front, and they've had a few wides that would be uncharacteristic of them.
We mentioned earlier on that some of these players might be elsewhere in the world only for COVID-19. Nicky Kenny is one of them. He actually came back from Peru. I'm not sure what his next destination was after that. Receiving and speaking to now by the referee is Colm Shannon.
And Bowden are far from gone from this game once they have players like Keeney and Paul Ryan.
And Keeney's off. That's a second yellow for him.
Another big blow for Ballyboden. I didn't see what the yellow. It seemed for an off the ball tussle. Didn't seem a massive amount in it. I think it's the usual ref gives 2 yellows when there's something involved like that. But another big blow for Ballyboden.
Well, St Finbarr's had a man sent off in the B final. They still went on to win it, and it was one of their main men as well. Can Ballyboden do the same? They're in behind here. It looks like it's Aidan Mellett. Mellett off the stick and over the bar. Good score, good response.
Good response, yeah. Mellett has been playing well, and it's good he's got on the scoreboard now. You get a direct runner, so tough to see where Bowden are gonna get the depth to go now. They look to Keeney a lot of the time, and then they're gonna need lads like Paul Ryan to stand up now, and they need ball winners in there.
David Curtin, who's come off the bench, fouling Sean Moore and free in for Cuala. David Curtin, who was 40 last week. They feel they probably need that kind of experience out on the pitch right now. What a man, what a servant to his club and county.
Yeah, massive player for Bowden over the years. He'll be hoping to add a bit of physicality to this.
Tracy will hope to add a point to his team's lead, and he has. "20 points plays 22. Bowden make a change. I think that's Luke McDwyer who's come in.
Another player who would have played underage for Dublin. I think he'd fall into that bracket of should be under 21 player now, but it's obviously gone to under 20.
A lively forward. It's what they need, but only is any good if you can get the ball into the forwards. They have a chance now because Ballyboden have retrieved it. McDwyer. Good catch. McDwyer on the way. Might have an eye for goal here, McDwyer. Brilliant, ferocious tackling by Cuala. But that's a poor clearance, especially when you consider they have an extra man. And Niall Ryan comes up with a big score for his team. He's 4th of the game.
Yeah, he's been a big player for Bowden so far. Still a long way to go here. It's only if my maths is right, a point between the teams.
That's correct. They'll try and make it 2 now. Colm Cronin has a man free, goes to him. It's Nicky Kenny. Good score from Nicky Kenny.
Yeah, he's done well since he's came on. He's gotten on a good bit of ball, and now a score from play to add to that.
They're going toe to toe at the moment, 2 between them. McMorrow bounced out over the line. Line ball to Cuala. He is adjudged to have carried it over the line.
Yeah, just his momentum was going that way anyway, but Cuala getting massive energy from that. You can see there well around on McMorrow, letting know that the small wins Cuala are getting here.
Tracy, that's a good line ball. Con tries to get there, might get a second attempt at it. Ballyboden sweep it up. Luke Corcoran back to Finn McGarry. Finn McGarry has a look up, sends it out towards Paddy Dunleavy, but it is Conor Dooley who takes it. Dooley down the line. There's a bit of a tussle between the Cuala fullback Cian O'Callaghan, and I can't quite spot which Ballyboden forward it was, but the referee has given the free out.
Yeah, it was Paul Ryan. Cian was just out in front, and Paul was trying to make up the yards by a little pull on the jersey, but good play from Cian O'Callaghan to get out in front.
Sean Brennan aiming it down the line. What a catch that is from Sean Moran, and he's won the free. Doesn't need it up. Good advantage played, and Moran is now on 2-3.
Yeah, really good performance from Sean Moore, and I think that's one of the big scores of the game, because it's at a crucial moment to win your ball on high ball like that and take your own score, so a big momentum shifter for Cuala.
Keeney's sending off is really affecting this game in a negative sense for Ballyboden. Now they've given the free away.
Yeah, things are just starting to swing Cuala's way, and the more 50-50 battles that Cuala come out on top here, the harder it is for Bowden to get involved.
Same as the semi-final. When it came to crunch time, Cuala did it.
Yeah, they did. And and now a testament to Cuala is that Conor Callan did it for them in the semi-final now, but James Madden has put the marshals on Conor very well, but it's other Cuala players stepping up.
Well, many of these players will look forward to a campaign with Dublin. That gets underway against Laois in the Leinster Championship. And David Tracy sends that one over. Didn't start against Laois last year, had some injury issues. It's the last time I mentioned that game, Owen, sorry.
No comment.
David Tracy storming forward, gets there to Sean Moran. Good hook. Ballyboden have it back. They need to get a goal at some stage. They've got the free in. I wonder will they just drop it in. We're now into the territory where they need a couple of scores.
Yeah,
222 is 25 points. 118 is 21 points.
I can't imagine there's a massive amount of additional time either. It's been a free-flowing second half.
And that's correct.
Conor McCormick goes on now. His left hamstring, he's bandaged heavily. I know he was struggling, but he's a handful in there at the edge of the square.
Good to see him back as well. He was working in London, and at the start of lockdown, I know one or two teammates said to him, well, you might as well work from home in Dublin and play for us if we can get a season going, rather than working from home over there and missing out completely. Long ball dropping inside. Can Ballyboden catch a lucky break here? McMurrow. It's a little bit loose. Ballyboden do well to retrieve it. Wonderful use of the stick by Paul Ryan. Inside it goes, but it's intercepted by Jake Malone. Malone goes outside to Oisin Goff. That's really cool, calm stuff by Cuala. John Shannon. That extra bit of space and time is there for the Cuala backs with Conal Keeney gone. David O'Connor trying to rescue it under pressure from Mark Schutte. Conor Callahan now in there as well. And it goes to show how much quality Cuala have. Con's only scored one and they are looking good still to win the county final.
And the passes that Bowden were getting off in the first half just aren't clicking anymore. It's going like a couple of yards off target and they're not winning these 50-50 balls now that the Cuala have the man back there, and it's hard to see where they're going to pluck a game winner from here.
They've only got two since the water break. Ballyboden, of course, they've also had a man sent off in that time. Cuala have got the last three scores in a row. And it's a free for Ballyboden.
Yeah, high tackle on Shane Durkin, and Ballyboden more than likely are going to put this around the edge of the square, but once a team starts doing that, it's last ditch effort stuff, and it very rarely comes off, especially with Cuala having the man sitting there, and that's Sean Tracy. He's very comfortable in that sweeper role, and he's a good extra cover to have there.
Brendan O'Connell, who also works with Leinster on the field there for Ballyboden, but doesn't have any work to do on Shane Durkin, who dusts himself off and stands back up, and Ballyboden are going to have to go long here. Inside it goes from Paddy Dunleavy. Flicked on by Dooley. Good save. Dooley again. Another good save. Cian O'Callaghan has it knocked off his hurley, but it's wide. A double save from Sean Brennan.
Really, really good save from Sean Brennan. A great effort from Dooley to flick it across, and reactions from Sean. Two great saves. That's game-winning saves there. We didn't know where Bowden were going to get their effort from, but Sean Brennan was equal to it.
Conor Dooley desperately unlucky. David Tracy chasing after this one. That's a beautiful pick-up under pressure, and then he's shouldered from behind, and it's a free for Cuala, and there'll be no rush to take it. What a lovely execution of a pick-up there, the slap pick-up as I call it.
Yeah, Cuala have come to life now in the last 15 minutes. The story is that semi-final. They just have that bit of class in a lot of positions around the pitch, where if everyone raises it a couple of percent, it goes a long way, and you'd imagine this will be one of the last pucks of the game here.
Well, sadly for Cuala, there is no Leinster or All-Ireland series. They would have loved another crack off that, but Dublin is their world for this year. And David Tracy, well, he is on top of the world with his performance today. This could be the last play of the game. Ballyboden, much to their credit, have not given up. They've kept trying, they've kept working, and even after Conal Keeney was sent off, they didn't give up. Here's Niall Ryan, who does not deserve to be on a losing team today. Good run forward. In behind they go. Is there a goal there for Ballyboden? Oh, that just wouldn't execute the pass properly. Brennan makes another save. Cuala in there to sweep it up. There's a real scramble. And the referee, that's not the final whistle. Cuala thought it was. But it might as well be, because stopping a goal there has pretty much made absolutely certain that they'll win this game. Simon Timlin did great work in there. Ballyboden desperately trying to make an opportunity for a goal. It tells you all about the Cuala defending. They didn't even really give them the chance. Ghosting through there. Great run from Paddy Dunleavy. Timlin bravely in there with a hook. Brennan with another fine save. Timlin then picking it up on the break, trying to get away from McCormack. There can't be much time left. Con is under this one. Con O'Callaghan. Bit of a fresh air bat at that one. David O'Connor and David Tracy tangling. Free out Ballyboden. Cuala making a change. Not ideal for any player to come on this late. They always want game time players, but at least they can say they were on the field for the final. Liam Murphy it is. Former Dublin minor, really established himself this year. Going off is Colin Cronin, who again has worked incredibly hard. James Madden launching it. Tracy. Away from Cian O'Callaghan.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say that the Bowden lads' heads are down, but it's just a case of they're facing such an uphill battle now, and of course they'll keep trying to the end, but it's just where they're gonna to get this from. It's hard to see.
26 points plays 21. Ballyboden need 2 goals, and it's hard to see them getting them. That's it. Cuala are champions of Dublin for the 8th time and the 2nd time in a row. They've beaten Ballyboden St Endas 220 to 118.
Yep, well deserved in the end. It was a massive effort from Ballyboden to put it up to them for so long, and even at the end it was such an unfortunate way for things just went down south for them so quickly. But that's the story of the game, and Cuala are deserved champions. They're probably one of the best teams in Ireland, and they've shown that time and time again, and another Dublin county for them here.
Well, the talk after finals is always about the winners, but a word for Ballyboden. They were gallant in defeat today. Even before Keeney got sent off, it looked like the tide was turning red and Cuala were going to go on and win it. Of course, we'll never know exactly what would have happened, but we do know this: Cuala are champions yet again after a stirring display against a fine Ballyboden team. How did Cuala see it out? How did they turn it around? Because they were trailing at the break by 4 points. And Ballyboden were playing well, Cuala were doing okay, but obviously Cuala were just that bit better in the second half.
Yeah, and Cuala have that experience. If to beat teams like Cuala, I always think that you have to play very well, and then you need luck on your side. And today, luck just wasn't on Ballyboden's side. That unfortunate incident of Shane Durkin's hand pass out was a hammer blow for Ballyboden, and if it happened up the pitch you mightn't even notice it, but just the hand pass out to Con O'Callaghan like that is a kill, and he'll punish you all day long. And that's probably just things went down from there, and Keeney getting sent off because the hammer blow of the conceding the penalty, and then you're looking to lads like Keeney, and then Keeney suddenly on the sideline, and you don't know where you're looking next, and it's a bit frantic. And when Keeney got put off, they just didn't have that firepower there anymore. But you know, Cuala, they're just a top class team. They're such a professional bunch, and the background they have, the backroom team they have there is phenomenal. They work so hard and have players, and you can't say enough positive things about Cuala because they're just such a class outfit.
That's absolutely true. They were 1 point behind at the water break in the second half, but scored 1-5 in the last 15 minutes. Sean Moran's penalty on 51 minutes put them ahead for the first time since the first minute. David Tracy scoring the opening point of the game, and that was the last time before that penalty they were ahead. Ballyboden played the last 10 minutes with 14 players, and it really came against them. Conal Keeney getting sent off, and they only managed to score 2 points after the half-time water break, and that was kind of the story of the second half. Cuala with 4 points in a row in the last 7 minutes, and that kind of saw them home. So Cuala, deserving champions. They're going to go up and collect the trophy, the New Ireland Assurance Cup, a piece of silverware they've become very familiar with in the last couple of years. And it's a real pity that they won't get the chance to go on and play in Leinster, because I know last year they were desperately disappointed to lose to a very fine St Mullins team, who went on to the Leinster final. For Ballyboden, well, the double dream for them is over. St Vincent's will remain the last team to do it for at least another season. They do have a football final to look forward to next week. That's the Senior A football final. And of course Cuala have a Senior B football final to look forward to next week. That will be live on Dubs TV. The Senior A final might well be live on Dubs TV if it's not taken by RT or TG Cahir. Certainly that will be a tempting one to take, because it'll be a good one between Ballyboden and Ballymun. That a conversation for another day. Cuala, the team in red, the team from the kind of Dalkey, Killiney region, are celebrating today, and well, they've worked hard, and it was a case of having a good spread of scores. But let's make a special mention of David Tracy, who nailed the frees when they came his way, and if you have a player doing that, you always have a chance.
Yeah, David Tracy had a very good game, and he also contributed from play at key times. Bowden had a 2-point lead for most of the games, and Tracy popped up a couple of times when badly needed. And I think if we're talking about specific players, Sean Moran has to be mentioned. He had a phenomenal game, really, really good player, and got the goal from play, scored the penalty, a couple of points, and then again you see him at the end of the game coming out with the high catch when they needed him. So a really, really strong display from Sean Moran. He's one of their leaders there, and we could be here for the next 15 minutes talking about all the players Cuala have. A lot of them. Keane O'Callaghan had a great game in full back, really was strong back there, and the Bowden in the first 15 minutes were putting a lot of high ball into Keane, and Keane dealt with it very well. So a lot of good performances from the Dalkey side.
Certainly was some good performances. Now, we didn't have a microphone over there on the far side of the ground with Mick Sievers, the Dublin chairman, for the first game. I wonder, do we have one for the second? If not, I'll try and hear what the captain is saying and pass on the message. The captain, of course, is Darragh O'Connell, a Kerry man who's successful in Dublin. Mick Sievers is doing his speech, and I've no doubt he's just congratulating the Cuala team. We're on air for another couple of minutes, by the way. If you'd like to send us any messages on @DubGAA official, you can get us on Instagram and Facebook as well, but the Twitter account is probably the most direct way to do that. Can't quite hear what Mick Sievers is saying, but Darragh O'Connell, he's quite the story, isn't he? Won a Christy Ring with Kerry back in 2011, I think it was teaching in or around the kind of South Dublin region, then knocked in with Cuala and then Dublin, and he's made quite an impact on the Dalkey side.
Yeah, he is. He's a really elegant player to watch. He just glides along the ground and has the hurling to back up with his athleticism. So a massive captain for Cuala there, and a big contributor to their side.
A massive contributor. You can't hear Mick Sievers now. You probably won't be able to hear Darragh O'Connell's speech, but what you will hear is the cheer when the trophy is lifted in the air. Ken O'Sullivan is over there as well, chairman of the Dublin CCCC. And what we're seeing as well is how young so many of those Cuala players look, despite the fact that they have been on the road for quite a long time. It's not something you see on the field of play, because obviously they're wearing the helmets.
Oh, they're not going anywhere anytime soon, unfortunately, from a lot of people's point of view in Dublin.
And you get to work with a lot of these guys in the Dublin panel. And look, I know today is not the day to discuss Dublin, and that's not why you're here, but it must be very, very exciting.
Yeah, they're top class players, and the professionalism and winning attitude that they bring to our setup is unbelievable. And they're just top class guys, and that's really all you can say about them.
Darragh O'Connell lifts the trophy. Cuala champions for the 8th time and the 2nd time in a row. They were tested all throughout this championship. They didn't finish top of their group, but when they need to, the good teams do it. The champions teams do it. Well, we can't hear Darragh's speech, but what we can do is take a look at some of the replays from the second half of the second half. These from after the water break. Sean Moran tapping over a good score. Sean Moran, so integral to Cuala in this game, and if we were picking a man of the match or player of the match, then he wouldn't be too far off it. Ballyboden with a fighting and dogged display, but just in that fourth quarter, Cuala got away, and this was a big moment. Conor Callaghan getting in, he did finish it off, but the referee had blown his whistle at that stage, so they had to settle for the penalty. But Sean Moran, as he has done so many times in the past, finding the net. Cuala didn't give up, and Aidan Mellett went for a jaunt forward. Took a good score, a vital score for Ballyboden at the time, but Cuala just were able to answer any questions they were asked at that stage, and David Tracy gliding that one over. Coming off the bench for Ballyboden St Endas was Luke McDwyer. We thought he might get in on goal here, but Jake Malone got around him, and then half of Dalkey ambushed him and he just couldn't get a shot away. Colm Cronin had a good game. Set this one up nicely for Nicky Kenny. As we say, Nicky Kenny probably would have been away only for COVID-19. He had plans to travel and was actually in Peru, but came back, and they're delighted he did. This is Sean Moran raising the white flag yet again. Cuala with the strong finish. David Tracy, what a game he had from frees and play. He scored 11 altogether. That's not bad in a county final or any other game. 9 of them from frees, by the way. Conor Dooley with a couple of chances here, and then bravely in over it was Cian O'Callaghan, and Ballyboden desperately tried for a goal. They needed one at that stage. They couldn't get one. David Tracy picking them off with a good free here. Conal Keeney getting sent off with about 10 minutes to go. It really cost Ballyboden. Cuala were getting on top at that stage, but again, you just never know. Niall Ryan never gave up. None of the Ballyboden players did. This was a good run from Paddy Dunleavy. And again, they just couldn't get it over the line and into the back of the net. And had they got a goal, who knows? But it wasn't to be for Ballyboden. It was for Cuala. And I think that's where we leave it. Darragh O'Connell lifting the trophy. Thank you very much for watching. We're sorry you couldn't be here today for County Final Day, but I'm sure if you're wearing red and white, you're smiling nonetheless and watching Darragh O'Connell lift the trophy for Ballyboden. Again, you've got another bite of the cherry next week in the senior football final, and no doubt you'll be behind your team, even if that means doing it from home as opposed to doing it from the ground where you want to be. But look, we are delighted that the technology exists that we can bring you the game. Owen, your final thoughts on the Senior A County Final?
Yeah, really good game. Two massive teams from no strangers to the final, and Cuala just deserved winners, and you know they're top class. And if COVID wasn't around, I'm sure they have a big party in Jambo Cronin's house, but you know they'll make do whatever celebrations they can.
Yeah, I think the celebrations will be limited, but in time, hopefully, we'll all be able to get together, whether you're a hurling fan or not, and celebrate, because we'll deserve it when we get through this, what has been one of the weirdest years of all, in all senses. But for Cuala, they've brought joy to the club and brought joy to the area, and Ballyboden, you know what, I know they're down now, but they can take a lot of pride from the season they've had and the performance they put in today. Ballyboden, unfortunately for them, it wasn't to be. For Cuala, as we say, an 8th Dublin county title, second in a row. They have beaten Ballyboden St Endas on a final score of 220 to 118. Congratulations to them. Stay tuned to the social media channels of Dublin GA, by the way, because you'll be able to see highlights and reaction to this game. And of course, we're back next week with football action. We'll definitely have the Senior 2 final. I'm not sure if the Senior 1 final will be on TG Car. If it is, we won't have it, but you will be able to watch it either way. If they don't show it, we will. Right, we're back next week. Thanks for watching. Congratulations to Cuala.